Okay, welcome to video 3 out of 3 on how to use SHACL to build forms. And this is where we look a bit at the internals of the two question-answer approaches we looked so far, the form and the quiz. So just as a reminder here, we're rendering a form for the citizen to fill out based on the requirement profile, knowledge base, and an initial user profile. Here we already know that the one child is of age 10. And let's actually add another child of class. So we have a second child where we don't have the age yet. Okay, but let's delete this and look at what's actually happening in the background. For that, we first need to merge these three ingredients. Okay, let's see what's going on here. So this big SPARQL query here that took me a while to figure out, but it was quite nice to tinker around with it here in SAMOps, multiplies out the class constraints to the individuals we have. So the class citizen and the class child, now we have to break it down to the concrete individuals we have. So for instance, the concrete user has this residency requirement, right? And the concrete child cannot have an age below 0. The second concrete child has the same constraint. And this is basically the template that the form uses to render down all of the things that need to be filled out. So this is what this query is doing, is multiplying out the class constraints to individual constraints. The second part down here is doing the same for lists. I could have also squeezed that part into the upper query, but it would have gotten much longer. I think this is already a bit too long, should probably be broken down. This is just a way of organizing it a little bit better. And then the multiplied out individual constraints and the list stuff gets merged again. And this is literally the input for the form. So this is the internal state of the form that is being rendered to the citizen to fill out. Okay, let's look at the quiz approach. So the quiz approach, as a reminder, has the same ingredients. Why are we being asked where do you live first? Because 2 out of 2 requirement profiles are asking for residency. That's why we're being asked first. But we can remove and let's zoom out a bit and wire things up. Okay, I wired things up. Let's zoom out a little bit to see what's going on. Basically, I tried to show that it's 2 main lines, the upper and the lower and the middle lane. Up in the upper part, we're processing requirement profile 1. In the lower part, we're processing requirement profile number 2. But since the same queries are being used there on the middle lane, and then here everything comes together and we're doing the final processing. Let's just briefly look into it. Actually, that whole first part up to here is a bit cumbersome, to be honest, in this semantic operations way. So this would be something that actually would be much quicker to put together in JavaScript. So let's see what's going on here. We're running the SHACL validation and we injecting the information which requirement profile this is, otherwise that gets lost. And so now we have the validation result and the requirement profile. And I mean, that's a lot of effort just to inject that little info in JavaScript. You could just sort of pass that on as a variable. But I wanted to just stay true to this approach here. But maybe I should build a node where you can sort of inject one variable instead of doing all that circus. Anyway, and then we are here with the post-processed validation results in a way that we can use them further. And here we're concluding the eligibility status. It's either eligible if the SHACL validation conforms true, but if it doesn't, we have to distinguish between either ineligible because there was a violation or it's just because there's data missing. And the conclusion here is that both requirement profiles are in the status missing data, which we can also nicely display in a little table here. And then we're extracting the missing data fields with this construct query, which says basically the data field has residence of main person is being missed by these 2 requirement profiles, whereas the income is only missed by this one. And here the same, we can make it a little bit prettier with this prioritization query and show it as a table. So the quiz form would now ask you next for the residence, because that has the highest count. This would extract the violating data fields. We currently don't have any, that's why it's empty. And then this is being put together into a final report, obviously in turtle format. But it's not something the quiz form using user would get to see, right? You've seen it's just this question answer flow. Okay, well, thanks for sticking around so long. Now I have a little gimmick, because the nice thing about working with graphs and triples that you can always visualize them, right? And so I built a little node here in SemOps that can do just that. So here we have a main person that has a child, and that child has an age. And here's a second child and a third child that we don't know the age for, right? So these are the 3 children, and for 2 of them we know the age. And now SHACL, you could also just as well visualize as a little graph. So here we're asking basically, how many children does the main person have? Main person has child, question mark. So this is kind of like pattern matching, right? So the SHACL query takes this piece and runs it over the data graph as many times as it matches. And then it finds these 3 results. But if we would ask now, we only want children where we know the age, the query visualization would look a bit different. The main person has a child of which age, and now this pattern goes over here, and it would only match with this branch here and this branch here, right? Because that branch is just too short. So that's why we get 2 results, the 2 kids where we know the age. That's it. Thanks for watching. I hope you found it interesting, and if you have any comments or ideas, I'll be super happy to hear from you. Bye bye.